So we are back here now, Idle Hour Podcast, episode number 2. And for the first guest that we've ever had, Perry Madl. Perry has a way cooler backdrop than any of us, except Joe. I like your
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, it's pretty
Um,
nice.
but
Took me
Perry,
3 trips to Mozambique to get that.
yeah, I got at least $168 and 2 trips to Home Depot into that ceiling fan.
Yeah,
Um, but Perry, welcome, man. Thank you for being our first guest.
Thanks, Cody. Appreciate it.
Episode 2. So, um, man, I don't know where in the world I want to jump into this and how to start because there's so many things I want to ask you. But man, I guess you just got back from a really cool trip. Tell us a little bit about what you were just doing.
I just got back from a bongo hunt in Cameroon, and long story short, it was my third trip to try to get one. I went to the Congo twice, no luck, and went on this trip, and it's just been bad luck. I mean, you cannot call me the bongo whisperer, that's for sure.
So,
um,
what pulled you towards bongo to start with? What was the
oh,
draw to that?
it's just an animal that I've always wanted to get. It's on my bucket list. There's 5, 6 animals on the top of my bucket list that I got to have. And anyway, that's one of them. I love hunting in Africa. That was my 26th trip to Africa.
wow.
Oh, yeah,
I
man.
started going to Africa when I was 26 years old on my own dime by myself. Um, I'm 65 years old now, so it kind of gives you a range of how long. And I've also hunted all over the world, but started out hunting. No money. My dad's a barber. Started out all on my own and started out hunting an antelope and then a black bear, and then just all went to, you know how it is when you want to have a different kind of animal, so you just keep planning ahead. And
Yeah.
it drove me to work hard throughout my life. It's a great sport. And I always hunted whitetail deer. And Cody, that's how I kind of met you. Is I knew your father when I was younger. Your father and 3 or 4 other guys that hunted quite a bit. Bill Tott. I got another guy named Jay Gates. We used to send pictures to each other every year after the season was over, and we'd get a stack in an envelope of old pictures. There were no cell phones back in those days, you guys, and there were no cell cameras to take pictures with, and so we'd all just send our pictures to each other, and we did that every year for quite a few years. And anyway, this is something we might want to talk about on our podcast here. So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm super curious, like, because I didn't know till I spoke with you. We ran into was that Iowa Deer Classic? We ran into each other
no,
this year.
Safari Club, we
Oh,
ran into
at
each other.
FCI. Okay,
Yeah, in
that's right. I
Nashville.
knew I ran into you and your wife. I just couldn't remember the show.
Yep.
Um, but going back to the days with my dad, what I'm super curious. So one question from a perspective of just me wanting to know what was your perception of like him back then, and then as far as like what you
So
guys
your
did
father
together.
is, I believe, 80 years old now, isn't he?
Yeah, he'll be 80 in
So
November.
he'd have been about 15 or 16 years older than me. And I was the youngest. I met him at a Safari Club convention in Kansas City, and I was very young, and he was like middle age for the people that were going to the show. And I just talked with him, and we hit it off well. And I took him to lunch. We went and ate barbecue. I remember this whole thing. Your dad's very like a mentor to me. I always looked up to him. But anyway, I mean, your father asked me some questions that kind of opened my mind up. I mean, he's like, where do you plan on going with your hunting career? And all of a sudden, hunting career? What do you mean? I was 20 some years old. I'm like, anyway, and he asked me some questions, and I didn't realize that your father had hunted polar bear at the time and some other stuff. And I think Cody, you and your father went hunting with another friend of mine, Jack Brittingham, at his place in Tanzania.
Yes, sir.
But your
Yeah,
dad
we
was a
did.
your dad was the whitetail man, and I had bought a farm when I was 26 years old, and I started managing my deer. And back then, there weren't Lee and Tiffany and all those people on TV managing deer. Though that came a long time later. So you just kind of had to find people that knew anything about this. Jack Brittingham was another guy that did manage his deer. He was the first guy to manage deer that I knew of.
Sure.
Um, but anyway, that's how I met him, and I always was enthralled with with your dad. He was a great guy. So he's still
Yeah.
around. So I just haven't seen him for a long time. But
He is. Well, yeah, and everybody's.
I'm sure you hear this all around the country about your father. So
I do, but I love to hear it because it was before a time. Most of this took place pre-internet days and all this. So like we get the old stories and we get the pictures and we get everything from like word of
yeah,
mouth. Now, and so like it's amazing that even in this internet era,
yeah.
it's usually
Your father used to whitetail deer hunt with another good friend of mine here from Kansas City, where I live. His name is Bill Tott, and they hunted up in Saskatchewan. And back in the day, you could get in a truck and drive around Saskatchewan and huge big bucks. You can't do that anymore, but they shot lots of big deer up in Saskatchewan back in the day. So
yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, and growing up in Montana, Northwest Montana, you know, Alberta, Saskatchewan were our neighbors to the north, super close. And so hunted up and he really liked to hunt up in that like Saskatoon area in
yep,
Saskatchewan. And
yep. I own a small part of a hunting operation in Saskatchewan right now, and my partner lived in Saskatoon, and our place is at Lake Tobin is where it is. So that's up close
oh,
to
very cool.
that's up by where the world record whitetail was shot. So
Yeah. Man, and Perry, if you haven't done it, I just recently went up a few weeks back to that Parkland Expo there in Yorkton. Such a cool community as a show. But man, it was like blast from the past whitetail days. Like all the people that have been involved from forever ago are there, and I don't know. It to me, felt more like a family reunion than going to like a expo.
hold on 1 second, Cuddy. I want to show you something that just reminded me of your father.
Sure.
Your
Yeah.
father started making bronzes. I don't know how long ago this was, but I saw your dad at a safari club convention, and we'd always communicated and sent pictures and stuff together. And he just started making these bronzes. And I said, "Damn, Dick, that's an awesome bronze there. It's the Breen buck."
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is
And he
that?
was just showing them out. And anyway, I didn't think much about it, but a week or two later, your dad sent me this in the mail. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's number two. Your dad kept the number one, I believe. And this is the number two bronze of the Breen buck that your dad did. I just
Holy cow.
so
Well, Cody, tell them a little bit about that story about the John Luton bronze that was found, and then us comparing them when we were up at his studio.
Oh yeah. Well, and I don't even know how. So I mean, Perry, there was only maybe like five of those that were made. There was the Breen, he did the Hill Gould buck, the Hole in the Horn.
okay,
There was like five of those, what I call just tabletop bronze busts.
okay,
Um, and I've been searching all over the country for them because I mean they stopped making them 30, 25 years ago, 27 years ago, whatever it was. Um, but are you familiar with John Luton?
Oh, I'm very good friends with John. I've known John for
Yeah.
40 years. Yeah, very good guy.
Yeah. So John called me up before SCI this year and was like, "Hey, I got at an estate sale. I got two of those like Hill Gould
Oh wow,
ones,
cool.
but they were messed up a little bit. So but he's a sculptor and everything. So he's like, I have to
Yeah.
fix one." And he wanted to trade a different piece of art that I have for it. And I said, "That's great. We'll do that." But we figured out for the first time that they were like, um, we don't know exactly. Like, here's that Hill Gould piece.
Okay, wow, awesome.
Um, but we don't know exactly. Is my dad's like, we didn't sculpt most of the run with like a bronze antler because it's a cold cast. This is not bronze. It's like
Yeah, it's
what they
something.
call a cold cast.
This was some new thing your dad came out with, wasn't it? The way a
Yeah,
new
they
type
called
of
it cold
casting.
cast bronze.
Okay,
Yeah, and truly, it's like an epoxy that they actually put like bronze powder in to get that
okay.
look and feel. But they called it cold cast bronze. But obviously not the cost of bronze. But yet, is the one that you have? Is that got the antlers themselves, do they still feel like epoxy or do they feel like a metal
They
or a
feel like
bronze?
they feel like a metal.
See, Joe, I mean, that's what
Mhm.
we're. So when we first got in there, I think the first big run they did not do bronze or metal antlers. And so when John Luton called me, he's like, "Yeah, he actually had to like repaint the antlers." He goes, "Yeah, they're like titanium or something, aluminum." And I told
It's
my dad, he
metal.
goes, "Nope." Yeah, he goes, "No, that's not mine then." And I'm like, "But I know his sculpting and his tooling marks." I'm like, "That's 100% still your sculpture."
Hmm.
So it's kind of like this interesting mystery. Like there's a run of these that were done 25 years ago.
Huh.
There was a bunch that were done without metal or bronze antlers, but then there's a handful that do have
Is
that. And
this
you sounds like you've
is
got.
this one of them that you're looking for, Cody?
Yeah, I mean the Breen Bucks one that I'm all like I don't have that one, but we're
Cody, I won't give this
I'm
to you
always.
right now, but I'll leave you this in my will.
Oh, you're the man. No, I've
It would mean
that
more to
is
you than
I
anybody. I promise you. You heard this
well
on the
that I think I
podcast.
could vouch for.
You heard this on the podcast. No problem. I'll give this to you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, Perry, I'll be at your front door tomorrow.
I said not right now.
Uh,
Just give me a few years.
dude, the way that you're working out and training and stuff, you might outlive me. I don't know. This,
I'm trying my hardest. I work out
dude.
every
Every
day.
time I see you on social media, you and your wife are getting after it.
Got to keep hunting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but you're not supposed to outshine us
Yeah, I
30
don't think
and
that's happening.
you know. um, man.
Now,
So,
Perry,
oh
you had mentioned, I know you didn't get the bongo this time. You're going back out there again to get one, but
Yep.
you mentioned you had a couple more animals on your list. What are some of those animals and what intrigues you
I'd
about them?
like to shoot a mountain in Yala. That's an animal that's in Ethiopia. There's very few of those get taken. I'd like to shoot a polar bear, even though you can't bring it back. I still want to get one. I'm very big into
Oh,
predator
yeah.
hunting. Um, I paid my way through college hunting coyotes in 1980 to 84. I was a gymnast in high school, and I went to college to do gymnastics at KU. I was going to do the rings. That's what I did, and they dropped our program for Title IX the week I got
Oh,
there.
wow.
And so I was just devastated. I'm like, God, what am I going to do? I was just all geared to do this in college. And I picked this book up called Calling Coyotes. And the guy's name was Rick Jameson that wrote it. And he had quit his job the year before and hunted coyotes. And back then, coyotes were worth where I lived, they were worth about $35 a piece. Probably up in Montana, they were worth 150 back then. But I said, man, I can do this. I just learned how to call coyotes from another guy who was a predator control specialist in the state of Kansas. I think I was probably 17 when he taught me how to do it. And anyway, the next day I went out, I killed 3 coyotes, got $35 a piece for them. And back then, you got to remember, minimum wage was $3 an hour, and gas was 75 cents a gallon. So I was rich. I was like, man, oh man, I can do this. And so I hunted coyotes for 4 years when I was in college, from November 15th to February 15th, every
Oh,
day.
wow.
And so I became very proficient at hunting and calling coyotes, and it's just stuck with me my whole life. I love hunting predators. I've gone all over the world. Um, I was the first guy to shoot all 5 wolves of the world. I don't think anybody's ever done it either, besides me. Um, Wolves in Alaska, Canada, Tajikistan, Mongolia, and Macedonia,
Wow.
where they're from. But I was the first guy to shoot a legal wolf from Mongolia. I bought that tag at a safari club auction, and I hunted with the general of the Mongolian army, and it was really cool. We followed him around, and we went to these villages that had been plagued by wolves that were eating their sheep, and I got 2 wolves there doing that. That was fun. So,
Oh, how cool.
yeah.
See, that was like one of the things I wanted to touch on. So what are the five? So there's five species of wolf
Yes.
worldwide.
Yep. There's the Alaskan, Canadian, Eurasian, which is in Macedonia, um, Eurasian, and Mongolia, and Tajikistan. The Tajikistan one is the same one that's in Russia, so those are all classified as the same ones. So
Okay.
there's a couple other wolves, but you just can't bring them back or shoot them legally. So they don't, I don't count that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it wasn't something I set out to do. I was Dall sheep hunting when I was young. I was probably 26 years old, and I shot a wolf. And I was more excited about shooting the wolf because I'd hunted coyotes for a living. And once I did that, I'm always trying to get one every place I went. So that's how.
Oh
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. And I gotta know, so you've done Africa as many times as you have too. So what have been a couple of your closest or like hairiest moments or closest calls over there in
Uh,
Africa?
a real hairy one was probably about 4 years ago. I was in Zambia, and a buddy of mine shot a leopard, and it was on camera. It was a deer camera they had on the bait when he shot it, and it fell out of the tree, and you could see the hole 375 right behind the front leg, and he just kind of drug himself off out of the picture of the camera. And I said, "Oh," and you could see blood just running down. I said, "Oh man, you smoked him." But the guy didn't want to go in there because he drug himself off. So we waited till the next morning, and we went out and we tracked that thing for like a mile and a half, and it just clicked and became normal again. And we lost the blood trail. And long story short, the leopard charged and attacked the tracker that was to the right of me. The guide shot at it twice with the shotgun and missed. He jumped on the tracker, bit through his forearm, then bit through his neck, and he threw him off the top of him. And my other guide shot it and killed it. But it was pretty hairy, and it was actually closer to me than the guide, and he just happened to go towards the tracker instead of me. He was right at my feet when he jumped up, and it was a pretty hairy deal.
Wow.
Gosh, man.
Talk
That
about the story.
Yeah. And I had a lion charge me in Botswana that we were tracking in the sand and charged up to us to about 40 yards and shot it one shot, but it roared. He just crouched down and his tail was going back and forth, and boom, I shot him. It was hairy. Get your blood going.
it's something people just don't know. If you haven't been to Africa, it's it's just different. It's hard to put into words the feeling of being in that true wild. And I can say the first time that I was there in Tanzania, it's like I felt so small when I first got out in that jungle. um I thought I was pretty confident. And I think it was like day 3 I shot a hippo the first day and a crocodile the second day that was eating a piece of my hippo. The hippo partially charged, shot him at like 30 yards. It was with Jack Brittingham. Not He wasn't with us on that hunt. He was with his own PH. But um, then I'm in the river trying to get the hippo out, kill that crocodile, and then on day 2, and then on day 3, my dad and I were there, and I ended up shooting a Cape buffalo at like 7 yards on the full charge. And
Nice.
I'm like, dude, we're like 3 days in. Like something's gonna kill me before the end of this trip. If it's not this, it's gonna be the
People
next.
read books all the time, and then you read about it. You just don't think it's going to happen to you. You just feel bulletproof or whatever. But I
Yeah.
have, I have, I have known 10 people that have been killed by Cape buffalo. I mean, not literally.
Wow.
There was a guide. His name was Bob Fontana out of British Columbia. I'm sure your dad knew him. He was a big grizzly bear hunter and bighorn sheep guide up in British Columbia. The guy I was hunting with in Africa, long story short, we had dinner with him at the Safari Club the year before, and we had planned this trip out. He was going to Tanzania, and we were hunting on this other guy's place, and he was going to meet us after a week after his trip. And long story short, he got killed by a Cape buffalo, and the only phone number in his pocket was my guide's phone number. And that guy called us while we were hunting, and we had to call Bob's wife and tell him that he'd been killed. I mean,
Oh
and
my
like I
goodness.
said, I've got not tons, but lots and lots of people. Buffalo are very dangerous. They can get you.
Yeah.
You can kill them, and they
Yeah.
still got 2 minutes to live, and they can come get you. So
Yeah. Well, what do they say about them over there? They're one of the only animals that look at you like you owe them money.
yeah, they're not afraid of you. They come. They come. They want to get you.
They have that long stare, the head down, that long stare look. That's like I'm just going to charge because I'm in a bad mood. that's that's as simple as it for whereas a lot of animals will run off, or they don't want confrontation unless you corner them or something like that. Seems like those big bulls, they just get irritated. They're very irritable and they're ready
And
to.
people let their guard down. They just think, oh, it's not going to happen to me, and it does.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, Perry, where's your big brow tine buck? Do you have it there in your trophy room?
I will show it to you. I don't know if you can see this here. Here's some of the deer that I've taken. Can you see the big brow tine buck there?
Is that him?
Can you see it?
We can see it. It's a little grainy for us. I've always wanted to see this deer up close. Gosh darn it, man!
That's
Look at those
crazy.
brow tines.
There's the first the buck on the left. There's the first big buck I ever killed. I killed that with my father back in the day when I was coyote hunting. And then the brow tine buck was killed in 1994. It scored 199 and 2/8. And it
Man,
has
I mean,
13-inch brow tines. There's 6 tines over 12 inches on it. And then this is another buck here. It scores 183. I shot it with a recurve. I call it Tex because it reminded me of a Texas buck. But I shot it
yeah.
at 9 yards with my recurve. And this buck scores 190, 192. I shot it in western Kansas. And that buck
Oh, he's super tall.
in the 180s. Here's some of the other bucks. I don't know if you can see them or not. I've killed 13 Boone and Crockett whitetails.
Wow.
This 8-pointer right here scored 176 gross. I've never entered anything. Excuse me, that's not the same. This is the big 8-pointer. I'm sorry. That one right there.
It's a beauty.
I don't know if you can see the deer because I can't see what you're looking at, but most of these deer came off my farm. Here's one my wife Christina shot. That buck was 7.5 years old.
Man, super wide.
I don't know if you can see these or not, but anyway.
Yeah, we
Beautiful.
can see. Can you see him, Joe?
Yeah.
Cool.
Here's some other stuff I got. Yukon moose, Argentina red stag. Here's the elk I shot with my bow. To tell you a little bit about how old it scored 363, I believe. And to tell you how old I was, I bought the tag in New Mexico over the counter. That's
Oh wow.
in the Gila Wilderness area. You can't do that anymore.
No, that'd be great.
Desert bighorn, some of the wolves, Alaska wolf, Tajik wolf, Mongolia wolf, stone sheep, doll sheep, Marco Polo sheep. That's probably my favorite trophy right there, my Marco Polo.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Beautiful.
Grizzly bear from the Yukon, Alberta blonde bear, brown bear from the peninsula, top of the peninsula, and then some mule deer that I shot. Can you see them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All these mule deer came from Kansas.
Incredible.
There's some other stuff. Some stuff from Africa. I got a bunch of stuff upstairs, and I kind of got a taxidermy house, not a taxidermy room, but
As
I've
you
got about
should.
5 safaris. I'm out of room. I got about 5 safaris that I haven't got stuff. I don't know if you can see any of that stuff, you guys, but try to give you.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, that's cool. The culmination of many years and many travels.
Yep.
The man, I have to say, I swear that I just call him the Browtine buck, but I swear that he has to be. Those have to be some of the most known Browtines out there. There's very few, for a typical, I'd say yours, and for a non-typical, I'd have to say like the Neil Morin buck, you know, from Alberta, but like there's very few deer that I would say like stand out from literally almost every other deer, but the configuration, those tower type, I don't even know how to
You
describe
know
it.
what's funny
Um,
is when I shot that deer, I never saw the deer before I shot it. We didn't have cameras back then, and I was hunting with a guy named Roger Ragland. A lot of people know who he is. He's an old timer. He's the first guy to have deer hunting 8-track videos, and he got hold of a friend of mine. He got a tag in Kansas, and I took him and um, he shot about a 168, I think, with me that year. And 3 days later, I shot the big buck, and he came up and put it on his video. You can see it on his videos. It's on his. He was all excited about it. I was too.
Oh, how cool.
Anyway,
Man, so you didn't know about that deer yet. So
and when I
maybe
shot it,
the
I didn't see his brow tines. He was running sideways to me in the mud. He was chasing a doe, and he was in the mud. And I shot it, and I walked up to it, and I'm like, "Whoa!" I said, "Man, this must make Boone and Crockett." I was only in my 20s, and anyway, scored it. I scored way more than that, but yeah, I had no idea.
gosh,
I had no
dude.
idea the brow tines were that long on it.
Yeah, that's killer. That's one of my favorite deer, man. That's always, ever since the first time I saw that buck, it's always been one I've just enjoyed. And like the brows look to such an extent that a lot of people are like, "Is this doctored or AI or something?" Because that
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
it does look freaky, like they're
Yeah,
not real.
yeah, yeah.
It's not a
It
really
will get.
wide. It's not real wide, but it's really heavy on the sides, and
Yeah,
it's got 6 tines over 12 inches on it.
gosh.
That
And we'll drop a
that
picture
deer
for the
is one of the
podcast in there.
reasons why I do not. I'm not against anybody scoring or anything, but it's one of the reasons I had that deer scored, and it missed 200 by like 2/8 of an inch, and it just kind of bummed
Yeah.
me out. And then literally the next year, I went on a stone sheep hunt. I showed you the picture of my stone sheep on the wall. Hunted really hard. I killed this big ram, and the first thing the guy does, he runs up and he scores it. He goes, "Oh, it scores 171. It makes Boone and Crockett." And I really didn't know what Boone and Crockett was way back when I was in my 20s. I mean, I did, but it wasn't an issue with me or anything. And I said, "Awesome," And so we pack up and get on our horses, and 2 days later, we make it back to base camp. The first thing the outfitter does, runs outside, grabs his tape, measures it up. Oh, it only scores 169. And I'm like, oh, so it's not any good anymore. It's like, it just made me mad. It's like, so anyway, I
Yeah.
literally never, I used to be in a score for a deer, but I don't enter any of my stuff. I never have. I like to know what they score just by looking at them, but that stuff doesn't mean anything to me. So
Yeah. But it
if it
seems
looks
like,
good and I shot it and it's old, it's mine. I pulled the trigger on
There
it.
yeah,
you go.
that's it. It seems like more and more people nowadays are not entering stuff. I mean, if you were like pre-internet days and go back to the North American whitetail days, there was like one avenue for it was like get it in the magazine, get it entered in the book, and then the kind of if you were someone that wanted recognition or
Hmm.
recognition for the deer, and now it seems like there's so many other. Well, first of all, there's plenty of people that just don't enter it,
Yeah.
but then I mean, honestly, right now with like like the whitetail platform, if I went out and killed like a 200-inch typical, I don't need anything from Boone and Crockett to
Yeah.
um I would just share the deer and
Yeah. I
it
mean,
would it would
now me being on social media, I have a social media. I mean, I have an Instagram page. It's just my name, but that's everybody can see it anyway immediately. So we didn't have any of
yeah,
that stuff available to us back then. To be honest with you, back in the day when I first started hunting whitetails, I mean, there weren't whitetails in Kansas till I was 16 years old. They just weren't here. Um, but
that's crazy.
yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
Perry,
you
I
know,
was going to ask you actually about the this I know we were talking about the Browtine buck, but I'd love to hear just the story of how that hunt even came about and how you ended up where you were and then what happened after you killed that buck, where you went from there.
oh, okay. You mean the actual day or what?
Yeah, yeah. How'd
Okay.
the hunt go? And then once you knew he was a
I
big,
was hunting with a guy named I told you earlier, Roger Ragland, who had these hunting videos, and we were hunting in northern Missouri. I had a farm probably about 12 miles south of the Missouri, the Iowa line. It was Princeton, Missouri, and Roger that morning shot a buck, probably I think it scored around 168. We thought it was Boone and Crockett, but it was just a few points off. I think it was his biggest buck to date at the time, maybe I don't know for sure. Um, but he was all excited, and he left and went home, and I stayed hunting up there because um, even though I owned the farm up there, I still had to get a non-resident license, and I was in my 20s, and that was a lot of money to me. I was going to keep hunting, and I shot that buck. It had been raining that morning, and I sat in my stand. It was along a river, and they were growing popcorn in this field, which is kind of unusual that for that area that I'd never seen popcorn grown anyway, and it started raining at about 11:30, and I got out of my stand and I was going to go get something to eat, and I'm walking back and it's muddy, and I just remember slogging in the mud. It was in the river. The river bottom mud it's soft. It's real dark and soft. Anyway, I'm walking, and up in front of me, this doe comes busting out of the brush along the side of the river, and this buck is just chasing her. Wow, and I shot it offhand, probably 70 yards away, and it just took about 6 or 7 steps in the mud. It was deep, and fell over, and I ran up to it. And then, like I said, I never saw the brow tines when I shot it because it was sideways to me running. And I said, whoa, man, this thing's got some brow tines on it. I said, this must make Boone and Crockett. Like I said, I didn't know what it was before. And anyway, um, got the deer loaded up. And in Missouri, you have to check them in. So we went and checked the deer in. And then I got on the phone and called Roger Ragland back and said, Roger, you've got to see this deer, So anyway, he met me. I drove back to Kansas City. He met me in Pittsburgh. He was from Oklahoma in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and we got pictures of it next to the just on a what's the name of it? Like a rest stop area. That's where it was. So
yeah.
that was the story of it. He was
Yeah.
all
So
excited.
you were hyped though, like, right? You were over
You
the
know,
moon.
I was excited, but when I was younger, I hunted coyotes all the time, and I saw big deer all the time, and I just really didn't. I was into predator hunting. I'm a big predator hunter, like I told you
Yeah.
earlier. Paid my way through college hunting coyotes and doing all that kind of stuff, and anyway, I shot a big buck with my father. I showed you the picture of the first buck I ever killed with my dad, and it was a Boone and Crockett. The first big buck I ever killed was a Boone and Crockett. So I was excited, but I wasn't flipping out or anything over it. Didn't anyway. So
It's a
It's a good
gift and a
start in the
curse to
whitetail
kill.
world.
I was
yeah,
gonna say it's a gift and a curse though to kill a booner on your first one because
yeah.
it like
That's
it,
funny. My middle son, his name's Parker, shot a buck in our backyard where we live today when he was 17 years old. Opening day of youth season, his first big buck with a bow, and it scored 228. And it was actually in Field and
Wow.
Stream magazine.
I
It is a
saw that
picture of
buck. Yeah.
yeah, a beautiful deer. It is a city buck, but I mean we live in the edge of the city, and um, so and he has it. He shot another. How old is he now? 34, and he was 17 then. Last year was the first big buck he's killed since then. So
Dang.
long time in between.
Yeah,
Kind
that's
of ruined him when you kill your first one. Be that
I'm
size. So
I'm putting that down in my notes as one of the ones we have to show the audience too. Because I saw the picture of your son's buck. That was
phenomenal.
another.
I've never shot one. I've never killed. I've killed 13 Boone and Crockett deer, and I've never shot one over 200. And the first one he kills is 228. It's like, jeez. So he didn't realize what he
um,
was getting. So
I say it's a gift and a curse, but I think I'd almost rather do that because
yeah,
I've been hunting them all my life, and I've
don't look a
got
gift horse in the mouth.
yeah, yeah. I think my one example of that is my hippo when I was over there with Jack Brittingham. There's I never had it officially scored, but like the word over there when I was there was that it had a chance to be potentially the world record because
Wow.
he had 12 and 3/4 and 12 and a half showing on each side. And you know, for the audience, and this is my very unofficial how to score a hippo, but it's extracted tusk, right? And as a general rule, they say that if you're trying to field gauge a hippo, or field judge a hippo, I should say, if you see them open their mouth, whatever they have showing for their lower tusks is approximately around a third of what their total tusk length should be. So
Mhm.
if you see an 8-inch bull, you've got a 24-inch potential for a total extracted tusk. And at the time, now mind you, there's plenty of time, water under the bridge since this time, because this first trip was a lot of years ago. But at the time, they told us that the world record was 31,
Whoa.
and so assuming he's a 12 3/4 on his longest side, of what he has showing, you know, who I never did the extracted tusk, but at least on paper, he's got the potential to at least be in that ballpark.
Man, it's crazy.
Hmm.
So, and that was like day one, like I told you before, day one, first day in Tanzania, and the PH and everybody else was like, "Oh my gosh!" And I'm over there like, "Is that decent? Is that good?
Yeah,
New high
typical.
score? Did I break it?"
That's cool.
um, and then I think the most frustrated, I swear, what that I was out of everything was for Impala. I feel like we spent 3 days watching Impala disappear on the horizon line at like 700 yards, silently disappearing over the horizon line, and just going like, we'd hike and hike and hike and hike and hike, have a sighting, start to put on a stalk, and they were gone. And I don't know whether it was just where we were. We're pretty open country and this stuff, but I end up, when I finally killed one, they were rutting, and they were with a bunch of baboons in like a strip of jungle, and I, the Impala weren't paying any attention to us, but the baboons were. They were looking at us and
They were giving you
chirping.
away to the Apollo all the time. Yeah,
Yep,
that's why they hung
yep,
around with
chirping
it.
at us, getting all puffed up and stuff. And it was a racket too. I mean, I couldn't hear myself think. They were making so much noise. And then of course when I shot that Impala, the baboons went nuts. But it was funny because it was like, even once we had come up and picked up the Impala and started taking pictures and stuff, the baboons were maybe a couple hundred yards away, but they were still just going nuts. So everybody was kind of laughing, like these baboons were just still throwing a fit. Um, but it was one of the cooler hunts because, like, we're looking at the strip of timber, and it's a long, narrow strip that we're walking along the long side. The Impala is chasing, they're chasing each other. The baboons, so they don't notice us. But like, I had 15 or 20 baboons that would run along with me, and every time I'd stop to look, they'd all stop and they'd puffing up their chests and like barking at me and stuff. And then we'd start walking in. All 15 or 20 of them would start walking with us again, and they were in between us and the Impala. So it's like, I don't know. It was very different. Like,
Was that
it's
your
kind of
first time
unlike.
to Africa, Cody?
Yeah, yeah,
You are very lucky to be able to go to Tanzania on your very first hunting trip. Not many people
yeah,
even get to go to Tanzania ever. So that's
yeah,
great.
yeah. No, it was great, man. And to do it with Jack and my
Oh,
dad.
oh man,
um
that's an incredible experience.
yeah, and actually we were there, the whole trip was like 32 days. I
Well,
think the last 27 of them, or 28 of them, were actually in the same camp there in the Slough.
oh, you hunted the slough. Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
A lot of buffalo in the slough.
Yep, yep. So I got my buffalo, got a crocodile and the hippo, warthog, got the Impala, hartebeest, diker, and a handful of other plains game animals.
Awesome trip.
Hmm.
Man,
Lifetime trip.
yeah. So I've been back again to Tanzania, but I actually went back with my dad and my brother to, pretty much purely photo safari. So we went to Manyara and the Ngorongoro crater, and we went to Raha, and
That's where I
we
was
went
at
out.
last time in Raha.
Was it?
Yep. We were
Yeah,
there for 21
huge.
days last year. This year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cody, that was that trip with Larry Zabel.
The next trip, yeah. So the photo safari one was with Larry Zabel.
Yeah.
Um, we didn't hunt with him, but we just went over and he was an artist. We had my dad. I guess my brother wasn't even technically an artist yet,
Yeah, right.
but he was. So my dad and Larry were getting art reference. Larry did a lot of cattle and kind of rural rolling cattle scenes, so he got some awesome. Even though the cattle looks very different over there, and my dad was obviously he was stuck on the leopards and the lions and traditional old school Africa stuff. I think Colt and I were just drinking beer and
Is your father still hunting, Cody?
he loves it. Um, Even to this day, if we he's kind of like a one or two outings a year kind of guy, and so we'll mix that between, like, last year he did an awesome fishing trip in Montana that he really liked, and we usually try to get in at least one shed hunting outing.
Okay.
And by that I don't mean like going down the road from our house and taking a hike, but actually
Yeah.
going on a
Yeah.
trip somewhere to go shed hunt. Um, he hasn't
Does
he
he
hasn't
whitetail
hunted.
hunt? Does he whitetail hunt every year?
He really, no, he doesn't anymore.
Okay. I just wondered how. I
He
haven't talked to your dad for quite a while, and I just didn't know if he still did it. You know, the older you get, the less you do it. It seems like to me. And I mean, I had a lot. This was the first year in 41 years that I didn't kill a buck in the state of Kansas. In 41 years, this was the
Wow.
first year, and it really didn't bother me that I went to Tanzania for 21 days, and then I came home and I went to Alaska to Kodiak Island to Sitka blacktail deer hunt for a
Yeah.
week. So I didn't really have time to hunt, but it didn't bother me. I mean, that's a long time, 41 years to not kill a big buck too, over 150, 41 years worth. But I
Wow.
wonder what time your dad's 80. I wonder what time, and I'm 65. So I just was wondering when in my mind I was gonna slowly, but I still love to hunt and I don't
Yeah.
want to quit. But your dad doesn't whitetail hunt anymore though, huh? Okay. How long has that been
No.
going on?
Um. So we did. Honestly, it's been quite a few years that it was mostly me hunting, and we were going places together. When he took the big shift into the art world, he is just as ate up with art as he is,
He's a very
and it
focused
might
guy.
be, yeah.
Mhm.
And so, and I think what was kind of the downfall of the every year whitetail thing was Montana was fantastic for whitetail up until about 1995. And then we had a terrible, one of the worst winters on record in 96. Apparently it killed 50-60% of the deer population that year. Then we did have like some disease
That's
that
what happened to us in Kansas. We got this EHD in Missouri. I sold my farm in Missouri, the one we're talking about, where the
yeah.
other big brow tine buck was. I get EHD 2 times in a row, and I just sold the farm, and you know there were hardly any deer there, and I wasn't going to wait 7 years for them to get or longer for them to come back.
Yeah.
So
Well, and
yeah, that's
honestly, it's just now out there. It's just now. So that was 96. Literally, I'm talking like we stopped hearing about Boone and Crockett Deer at all from
right.
96 until about a few years ago here. So, I mean, it went from being not the best state, but it went from being a really good whitetail
Mhm.
state. And if you look in the record books in Montana from the late 60s through the late 80s, man, you had the Brett Johnson buck and the Pleskak buck and the obviously the Petrie buck. I mean,
Mhm.
killers. And then most of them were actually from my home area up there in the Northwest. And then from 96 on, it is like nothing.
Yeah,
And
and
so,
that literally happened in Saskatchewan. I was telling you about, but it wasn't more of the disease. It was the winter was bad, and the wolves killed all the deer.
yeah,
Mm.
So when you and it literally wipes all the big bucks out, and it's not a 5 year return to get your big bucks back. It's 8 to 10 if you have good winters.
yeah,
So
yeah. So to answer your question, part of what happened there is the combination of him getting a little bit older, and being very entrenched in the art world, and he loves being in his studio. And then me being the only person that he really hunted with for a lot of years after he had gotten out of the actual scene. I moved in 2020 to Tennessee, and pretty much from there on, him and I call and chat it up all the time about big whitetails and stuff, but like that was kind of the beginning of the end of the regular outings for
Hmm.
him. We were kind of co-pilots, and we did everything together when and he would even tell me, like, once I moved, he's like, "Yeah, I've gotten 5 invites, but this year to go here, here, and here, and here, and here." But he's like, "Unless you're gonna go, I don't really want to go."
Oh,
So, so, and back then I was still in the insurance and financial advising space, and like in an everyday office deal in Tennessee. So I was like, "Man, why can't I can maybe make one of these, but I can't come do all of these at the now." I wish that stuff would have been happening like in the climate we're in now, because I'd be like, dude, I'll block off from September
got
1st
there.
all the way till December.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, now's your time. So that's good.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he's few months, I guess it's November here. He'll be 80. So
Getting up there.
he yep, yep.
He's still in good
He's
shape though.
he's a beast, man.
Hmm.
He's a beast. But yeah, so I mean, and I think I just recently talked to him about maybe in the next year or two where he would like to. I think there's a couple whitetail spots we'd like to get to, and I don't care if I have to be more of the like. eh, I was like, I don't even have to hunt, Dad. Like, I'd love to see you get another big one, and wherever we got to go, we
Maybe we'll
might
have to
not be.
arrange that. We'll have to get him down to Kansas here sometime or something.
I was gonna say, I don't know about going to like Saskatchewan in November.
Yeah, it's too cold.
For
It's
him, yeah,
really cold.
that's brutal. And
Kansas
but
is
so
easy
like,
though.
yeah, Kansas would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
Or Perry, I don't know if you guys shed hunt out there, but that's another one that like it would be so cool to get him on like a four
We
wheeler. And
don't, and that's be a great thing to do. Yeah, we don't hunt. I
yeah,
mean, there are a lot of people that shed hunt, but I don't shed hunt on our places at all. So,
man, that would be, and that would just be fun to have camp. It'd be fun to eat good
yeah,
food and
sure,
um,
that'd be awesome.
sit around the campfire,
We'll have to plan
tell
that
a
one.
few lies.
And
We'll have to
Perry, it
plan
would
that
be
one.
pretty awesome to have Mr. Eagle Eye on that. I mean, Cody, it's crazy, and he can attest better. I mean, get him shed hunting, he'll come back with a huge pile of them.
We'll have to plan that one out, Cody.
Are you pretty sharp?
No, I'm not. I don't shed hunt. I never have been a shed hunter. So,
I can't stop. It's not even something that I designated. I can't stop doing it. I love it so much. I love big whitetails. I love hunting them. I love pursuing them.
Cody, what is a big whitetail like? If you have a typical one side, what is a big whitetail shed for you?
Oh, for me personally,
I mean, no, in the shed world, like what is a world class shed for a whitetail on one side?
well, if you're typical, I think if you're getting anything honestly, if you're getting the high 80s, low 90s, you're in really, incredible territory.
I've got two sheds that I found way back in the day quail hunting with dogs, and I think they're in the 90s. I think is that a world?
That's incredible. I mean, if you think about it, I mean, let's just go clean typical. This is basic example, but like, you know, you can have, if you have a 90 and a 90 with before adding a spread, you're probably around a 200-inch deer depending on his spread. So you're a
Okay.
180 without spread. That's going to get you up. Now, people think that if I'm in Montana though, I'm taking anything over like 70. Those aren't world class, but like
Yeah.
anything high 60s, low 70s is great out there. And I know people would probably think that's surprising to hear me say, considering like when we hold up some of the sheds that we do, like I just posted the mother shed the other day, which is 147-inch side. If you're looking at the general there, he's 108 on that side, and he's 103 on that side as a gross. And but man, you're getting up into such rare air to be anything high in the 80s and 90s, low 90s is phenomenal.
Okay.
Um,
I think this one's 92. If maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was. Anyway,
yeah, that's
I'll
great.
check. I'll
I'm,
show
of
it. I'll send you a picture of it and show it to you.
course, this is more like normally what I find when I go out. I
Shoot up.
actually I actually hit this. This is a little elk spike I hit with the lawnmower.
Ooh.
My dad had a property north of Whitefish, Montana. We're from up there, and I got um, cornered into mowing the driveway in the spring when it was all like clearing it and mowing the sides. So I sitting there, and this thing flung this thing way up in the air, and I'm like, well, at least I get to find a shed, even though it looks like a Yeti turd. But that's that's more my speed for what we usually find. We have dreams of grandeur like that, and then but when we go out, it's like it's that.
Cody and I found this one up
Well,
in Whitefish. Nothing crazy, but
Dude, you
it
don't even
blew
have
my
to
mind
share that one.
how good he
oh, that's a
is. I
big
mean,
one. Yeah.
he saw that up against a tree. I mean, from 30 yards away, and he's like, boom, shed. I'm like, dude, how do you do it?
Now, the only thing that I'll say, I don't actually have a metric to say that I'm sure there's plenty of guys out there that would, you know, maybe show me what's up. But like everywhere I've gone for a lot of years, it's been something that my friends and family have paid attention to. But like the last time we went to Canada in 2024, I shed hunted with a group of people, and you know, the next in the 4 days we were there, the next most that someone found was like 11, and I think my dad found 10 or so, and my brother found 8 or 9, or and I found 56 in that
Whoa.
stretch.
And
And
how many ticks did you get when you were looking for those?
about 4 for every. No,
Oh,
this there was actually earlier. It was earlier in the spring, and I don't know if I had one last year. We had a similar deal where like everyone's like, "Oh, this area has already been picked." We're in Kansas, out near Hayes, and
yep.
I had another weekend where I found like 55 or 56 in a weekend, and I had ticks everywhere. Man, I couldn't.
Can't stand
I
those
mean,
things in the spring.
I was making a Facebook or a Instagram story, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm out here in the woods, and I found 5 or 6 sheds so far." And like in the video, a tick goes walking
Oh,
across my neck, and I'm like, "Oh, there's the all right."
yeah.
Um, but they don't really actually bother me. I know they drive some people nuts. I still hate them, but they're not like
I just don't want to get Lyme's disease. That's not worth getting.
Seriously.
yeah, yeah. I I'd go back and do a naked handstand in the bathroom mirror. Just kidding. But I do a thorough check after the hike.
That's good. Cody, my phone is going to run out here, bud.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll have to do a few here, Perry. It'd be fun to come back and do a full tour of the trophy room, and
Whatever you
would
want to do.
love to have, cool, and we'd love to have a chance to do something in person
Hey, if you're ever near
sometime.
Hayes again, call me. I've got 33,000 acres near Hayes, and you can shed hunt anything you want on it. So
Man,
it's big bucks up there. A lot of big deer in there in that area.
holy
I guided
smokes.
one. I guided one guy this year. I'm not a guide or anything, but my friend owns all this ground, and I kind of help him out. He wants to pay taxes on his property, so he books a couple deer hunters every year. Anyway, that guy got a 172, I think, is what he got in the second day. So
Oh, well, I'd love to. Yeah, man, I'd love to even see it. I love that country. It's so great out
yeah,
there.
it's totally
I'd
different
love.
than where I live.
Yeah,
My farm
yeah,
is Rolling Oak Hills, and it's called the Chippewa Hills. The Chippewa Indians lived in it, and it's just solid oaks. It's really pretty. The place I have in eastern Kansas. So, anyway,
man. Wow, Perry, I really appreciate it. Like we said, starting out, the Idle Hour podcast is very new. This is episode 2, and you are our first ever guest. So
it's great.
we
Thank you.
really appreciate you doing it, and we'll have to do it again sometime soon.
You bet.
Awesome.
Perry,
Well, thank
thank you
you,
so
Joe.
much, man.
Thank you, buddy. Have a good one.
You
Yeah,
too.
thanks, guys. See ya.